You alright?
Yeah.
It's quite intense. There's like 2 cameras pointing at you.
Everywhere.
The microphones, the cameras.
It's everywhere.
Honestly.
But I'm going to have to get used to this if I want to become a YouTuber, if football doesn't work out.
I thought we would start with about 10, but I think we had about 50 turned up the first week. Because
50?
I said I was just moving to do some training on a Saturday morning. I didn't realise they all knew about it and they just came. And
I just love football. I eat, breathe, sleep football every day.
It feels good because when I play, I have other people around me. We work as a team and it's nice to win games.
And it's like, when you're playing football, you don't have to worry about anything. It's like you're just playing football. And all your worries go away for like that moment in time because you're just focused on scoring a goal, playing the best you can.
Without football, there'd be like no me. There wouldn't be like what I am today. So
football is life. I would never stop playing it.
Me as a person just stemmed from football. Everything, even when I was like 3 years old in the park, I'd just be kicking about a ball trying to learn new skills or something. That's what I'd be doing.
Often what children are learning in school are facts and knowledge, but actually skills count hugely and attitudes count massively.
It's a language of its own, it's a culture of its own. I think it's the community. It brings people from all walks of life, male, female, different cultures together. Within that hour and a half of watching the game, there's no judgment.
Kids want to play football because it's like their happy place. Like, yeah, they have an Xbox, they have a PS4, but nothing compares to the love of football. Football is a big community and it's a family. No matter who you are, no matter your ethnicity, your background, football is a family no matter what, and that's how it is.
Well, that's what this football club is about. It's a community, a family.
I actually joined as a kid under 10s because I actually came from Sacred Heart School, which is around the corner. I played for under 10s right through to under 18s, I think it is. But yeah, now I'm just back as a coach trying to give back as much as possible.
It's more than football. The other clubs I've been with, it was more of like, oh, it's a football thing, money, things like that. But with Dover, it was more of, it's family.
I think it makes me more confident in myself. I have something to tell everyone that I do and I'm proud of. I know I'm one of the only girls in my school who plays football outside of school. The society's telling us what we are and what we do, but it's not necessarily true. Like, you can still love makeup but be a great footballer at the same time.
So we have girls from different backgrounds. We have girls who are doing well in school. We have girls who are not doing so well in school. We have girls that this is their chance during the week where they're not getting in trouble, which I think is very important. And this is not saying that it's a team full of troublemakers, but it's a team where there are players who come from difficult backgrounds. And it is very important for girls to interact with girls from other areas, other schools. I think here I've tried to encourage the girls to not worry about gender, and I've done that for the reason of I don't want them to feel as if they're any better or any less than the boys. I want them to feel equal, so that when we do play, it's kind of getting rid of that worry of, oh, they're boys, whereas now it is, we're all football players. And also the boys here as well, I've been very welcoming to the girls since they've started, and it's been a big show of respect to sort of how hard the girls are working, which I think has been, due down to their hard work and their graft.
It means a lot to me because I feel like it's kind of my life now since I joined. Yeah, it feels like that's all I really do on the weekends.
If there's no football club, I think, especially kids that love football, if there's no local club, you're stripping back a huge part of them. I don't know how they would find their identity. I honestly don't know. Every professional player comes from grassroots. So grassroots feeds these pro clubs. You cut back on grassroots, you're cutting back on the development of the UK team.
I was a great believer in sport in terms of what it could do for an individual, in terms of how they feel, in terms of allowing them to grow in confidence, the social benefits. You start to think, well, actually, what does that mean to a community, and in particular an underprivileged community?
Once you are a Doverhouse Lions member, you're a member for life, and the fields is your home.
It's not their fault. Like, it wasn't my fault I was born into, do you know what I mean? So it's out of their control. It's really easy to get caught up in certain stuff when you grow up in that environment, so it's really hard to break through. But I think if we keep giving and keep doing more, Doverhouse Lions, for example, if that goes, what are they going to do Saturday morning? Like, you're opening the doors to them to be involved in crime and nonsense. So you can't keep taking from these kids. They've got nothing, and you're just taking and taking.
You get your sense of identity from various different ways. It could be your background, culture, religion. It can be a sporting club, but also it can be a gang. And you've got to think of gangs in different ways. And they could be doing sporting activities, and they can be doing other activities. And the reality is, if you have a situation where households aren't necessarily stable, kids looking for things to do, and they're susceptible and vulnerable.
So we have some children who come from not very nice backgrounds. Coming to football is their safe haven. When they walk through that gate at that field, they feel like at home, that's their home. Some children may come from abusive families or have been subject to witnessing that. Where on the flip side of that, we get boys and girls who come from a very well privileged background, kind of have anything they could wish for. See, we do have children there as well that struggle because they have disability. We have girls who are trying to find themselves.
We were doing some work with kids that had come out of the prison system, and I think when I first joined, some of those kids that were working with Doverhouse, and they'd come from like a probation, and they wanted to know, they'd done their coaching aside, and it was part of their community service, if you like, giving a bit back. I mean, how many clubs will allow that to happen? But we take responsibility because these kids live in the same area, and we have a belief that if you don't support them, then don't complain about it. We have a responsibility, guys, just to give them time. And if we give them time and they want to come here, great. You think Ryan Sessegnon and Stephen Sessegnon came through the Doverhouse Lions programme. And I just don't think that grassroots clubs get enough credit for what they do.
I think if you grow up with less opportunity, then you really value it when it comes along. I know that I certainly did. You know, I did everything I could. Anything that I was offered.
What does access to open space mean? It means so much, actually. And if you don't have it in your home, you must have it very near to you. It must be there, accessible for everybody.
I started at the little academy that they have here. I think it was about under 6s or something like that, something really young. And ever since then, I've just played and played, just not stopped. It's just a family club. Anita and Eddie are the mum and dad. Anita's always been my favourite since I was a little kid. I've always been her favourite no matter what she says. So I love it, yeah. She's like a mum to me, really. Always has been.
Sometimes you may make a few mistakes in a game, but it doesn't matter because with football you learn from your mistakes. So when we lose, when we go back into training, we'll do the stuff that we didn't do as well. And then once we work on it, we do better in the next game.
Absolutely. So Dylan, tell me, who has taught you that?
My coaches, Coach Aby and Coach Phil. They make us train hard, they're kind, they make sure that if something's bothering us, they'll help us. They'll help us learn new things. They teach us to keep our heads up because you win some and you lose some, but if you lose, keep your head up because you need to keep your head up because if you don't, the game could go worse.
It was just a place where I would forget about maybe stuff going on at home and it was just somewhere I could go to and just not worry about anything. Football for me is just everything. So every time I'd be stressed out, I'd go and play football. Every time I'd feel in a certain type of way, football. Like, it's always been football.
Your life may not be going so well, and then if you keep your head up, maybe something good will happen and you'll be able to work with it.
Yeah, we've been coming here for about 4 or 5 years now, I would have thought, and he generally enjoys every bit of it, to be fair. The only part he don't enjoy is when he don't start. But yeah, no, he enjoys most of it. One of the things I like about team sport is the bonding process, and I like the fact that from when they're young, they're issued with instructions that they have to carry through. Obviously, it's just another aspect of growing up. I like the fact that he's got different friendship groups, like the friendship group he's got at school is different to the one he's got at Dover.
Lily has hearing aids, but her strength, her hearing might not be her strength, but her feet do a lot of the good talking.
One of the disability scout came to my school and he picked me out and he said to me when I turned 14, he's going to come back for me and he's going to get me to play for England disability teams.
I think it's the feeling that Dover is such like a mix, such more of a family. It makes me more comfortable being there because it's like loads of different people from different places. It gives something unique about the club. See all these people and all their different like lives and stories. It's really inspiring to be around.
Doverhouse Lions have had lots of obstacles and challenges throughout the years. And really, I suppose we've always managed financially. That's always been a challenge, and that challenge is always going to be there because the children can't afford to pay the registration fees that they need to pay and the weekly subs. So we get by there. But the other challenges, which were slightly out of our control, is that is a council-run facility. The grounds is a council-run facility, and over the last 10 years, we've had 3 rounds of it being sold off to larger organisations, but we've always managed to prevent it happening. You know, when we began, there was a lot of gang culture around in the local area. You wore different colours. It's really difficult for me to try and think about it not being there because the children, if it wasn't, potentially they would be at risk of getting involved in all the things that we are trying to keep them away from.
This has been going on for more than 10 years, I think. It's been going on and we've fought it. Thank God we've help from other people. We were able to save it and give it back to the community and do other things there that the community needs and the children needs.
How close have you come to losing the playing fields?
Very, very close.
I must admit I was a little bit uncertain of the landscape of local football in the sort of A3 corridor, and it was difficult to really get a feel for the heartbeat of those organisations. And you'd come across a couple where you felt, yeah, okay, there was this driver within the community to support them. But where Doverhouse Lions is particularly striking is it's a real area of contrast. You know, if you drive around the leafy parts of Roehampton, you'd be thinking it's luxury and multi-million pound properties, but cheek by jowl with the Roehampton estate, which is a very challenging environment for all who live there. You know, every youngster who wants to participate in a junior club must have that opportunity. You know, an area like Doverhouse needs to have people who are willing to commit themselves to the immediate community to provide an opportunity for them to participate. If the motivation is only with the most talented, you'll quickly struggle. Whereas if you can demonstrate that you've got a commitment to everyone who wants to be part of your programme, then you have a chance to succeed.
It's home, and you can't change that. There's different things within Roehampton that no one will like. I feel like football for a lot of kids is a way of getting out of that. So being part of like a rough area is very tough, and football is a very, very good way of getting out of a lot of stuff. Honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I don't know where I could have been right now. Could have been out doing stuff I shouldn't be doing, and maybe behind bars. You never know, really.
If a kid's got nothing to do, what does he do? He gets into trouble. It's easier to break something than to fix something.
Being a kid from Roehampton is very, it's hard, but you get used to it. So it's like all the gang violence and stuff like that. It's difficult. I was a kid, just played football, and I've been nearly stabbed a few times, and it's difficult, very, very difficult. And my dad went to a point where he was like, I don't want you in the area anymore. I could have not been standing here today. Having the teams that want me and the people I have around me, I could have not met them before. And having that life I have now, I couldn't have asked for more.
Hope. Yeah. Because if you don't give children something to look forward to, what do they have? They have nothing.
Doverhouse, it did a lot in the sense that it's a community club and it allowed me to play football and even when I had no, because I know it's again personal, but like when I had no, my mum wasn't able to fund it and stuff like that, like Anita and Eddie would always help us out and like allow us not to, which I don't think you'd find at most clubs, to be honest.
When you're living in it, you don't realise because you're within it, so you don't think anything. Like when I was in my council flat, I didn't see any problem with that. Not that there is a problem, but I didn't see that we needed help. It's weird, when you're out of it, you see it for what it is, and it's just an area where they've put so many people together, there's so many energies within one place that it's just a bubble of its own and nobody's helping to better this place.
Just doing all the wrong things, literally all the things that you shouldn't be doing. Right, okay. So yeah, football was a getaway from that and it kept me happy. Then when you stop doing it, things just got worse and worse basically. Football can be important in your life, and when you stop doing something that you actually care for and love, it can push you down to wrong roads to try and find things that you love now. Right. Like you can fall out of love with something, and you can fall back in love with it. When I was 13, I wasn't doing the right things as a 13-year-old. I was 13 going on 16, acting 17. He's 13, acting 15, but I'm trying to keep him 13, acting 13. Okay. He likes football. I'm trying to show him how to feel loved. Dover made me feel loved. People like Eddie and Nita, they always made me feel cared about when they used to bring you to matches. For example, I didn't have no family members to bring me to matches. They'd always organise things like that. I'm just trying to bring him where I felt cared about.
So if I didn't have Doverhouse and I had to go, I don't think I'd be playing football. And then who knows, like I'm not sure what I'd have turned out to be, but.
Life for the children, the local children, if Doverhouse didn't exist, to be honest, I wouldn't want to even imagine it.
I'd probably say you're destroying a part of the community that's so important. Like football has brought all these people together. They've given them an opportunity to do something with their lives. Like put all their anger, all the inequality into playing a great game of football. So by getting rid of that is taking away someone's identity and it's making them not be who they are.
No, it's actually changed my life in a sense, to tell you the truth, because I didn't make it in football, so I wanted to give back to the community.
I've grown up in the Roehampton estate as well. Obviously, you look, we've got a massive estate just across the road, and then just the other side of it, literally one road separating both, you've got houses, as you said, which go for 3 point to anything up to 12 million.
And I'm from a council estate background, and what I look at is, if I had the right structure when I was growing up, where would I have been now? I don't know what happens behind the scenes when they leave Dover, but I could create an environment here at Dover where they thrive and flourish. And even if they are potentially that naughty kid at school, as I was, that maybe will be because they're not being challenged academically, which is what my thing was. And when I got put into higher sets, I stopped messing around because now all of a sudden, there was no time, because I'm not finishing my work as quick. It's much more challenging. I need to think more and talk and speak to the teacher more and interact with people more.
Football gave me a lot of confidence. It gave me a lot of a route, and it was also a family club which allowed me to they drove me to go to university and to achieve other stuff as well.
Good human beings is actually what the focus needs to be, because not all of you will make it. And actually, do I want to be a victim of some of you potentially children, because this is how society is going. Let's be absolutely honest, where it's moving to. And because people feel that they haven't got anything, they go and want to take it. And we're from estate backgrounds. If you look at just Doverhouse situated, where it's situated, the affluency immediately outside Doverhouse Road. But then you go down the road and turn right and there's the council estate just there. As you turn left up to Roehampton High Street on the right, you've got the old shops and they're all boarded up. And the estate's there. So think, as a child, waking up every day, and that's what you're presented with every day. And I know what that feels like. So what do you want to aspire to? I mean, what have you got to aspire to, right? Nothing. And those around you, then you start to look at the wrong things.
But you can't be certain that clubs like Doverhouse Lions can continue to access everywhere, and the people of Doverhouse and the Roehampton estate in particular are absolutely indebted to the club.
Recently there's a young youth player from Manchester City that's died and took his life because I think, as I understand it, he wasn't going to make it into the echelons that he wanted to. But so much emphasis has been put on that, and I understand it, right? From a very young age, everyone's told you you're going to make it. No one's ever told, and then someone said you're not. So actually, we owe it to you to say, actually, you know what? It's unlikely that you will make it, okay? It's great that you're in this environment, and you'll learn a lot being in this environment. But whether you'll make it to a professional footballer, you know, it's highly unlikely. They are the statistics. Now you can either put everything into it, or go into it knowing that I'll give it everything, but it still might not work out.
I was actually sitting in the A&E and they said, yeah, we don't think you'll play again. So that was quite hard, a 15-year-old boy being told that his dream wouldn't be able to be followed. But then afterwards, you know, it breaks you a little bit, but then it's about, now, what can I do? What is my next step? And with that, I kind of just got up and I said, okay, well, I'm going to coach. After a setback, it's how you get yourself back into being focused. And that's the hardest point. And some of the boys out here will suffer setbacks. But it's about not just about how we coach them, but it's also about being there for them. And also making sure that they know prior to possible setbacks that it is a hard world to join in the footballing industry.
To some of these kids, is their home when they walk through that gate. It's an escape from the world for them. They puts them in a trance and they're somewhere new. And I think in the area of which we live, previously there's been a lot of bad crime, gang culture. We are a very diverse club, and I think we live in a very diverse community in Roehampton.
And it doesn't matter what car you have, what football boots you have, what phone you have. It's just how good you are. And no one cares how you look or how you dress, because you're all going to get muddy and completely dirty anyway. So it's just about football.
Yes, it's football. And yeah, you can play football anywhere, but you can't find a club like us anywhere. You really can't.
And one of the challenges will also be the issue of conflict of interest between users and residents, because in order to increase the usage on the site, we're going to need to have floodlights, because obviously in the winter months people would love to play between 4 and 7 or 8 o'clock in the afternoon, but it's dark. So if there are no floodlights, there's going to be no playing.
Well, it's easier to play football with floodlights, and also so you don't have to rent out different venues, because we have weekday sessions after school, so by the time you get there it's dark. And one time I was going to training after school on a bus, and then some boys were just chasing me, and then yeah.
Was that scary?
Yeah, a little bit.
We've got a lot of players there, a lot of coaches, a lot of staff. I think they all keep us safe.
It's really good, to be fair. The boys, especially the area that we live in, we don't really have much going on. So when we have a club which makes it affordable, gives the time for the kids, and gives them a chance to better themselves in every way, discipline down to actual footballing ability, it's brilliant.
We're from council estates, so there's nothing really much for them to do on the council estates. Instead of play out, get into trouble, things like that. I'm not saying little kids like 8-year-olds are, but when you're hitting 16 years old, it's a good thing for them to come here and get away from things that's around their estates.
Because of locality and ease, some of the children of different ages bring themselves there. So if Doverhouse isn't there, quite simply, if there's nothing else local to them, football's no longer an option. To them, what is the option? Goes back to my point. What are you presented with? Your environment. All you need to do is look at some of what they call the projects in America, and you see, you've got alcohol stores on every corner, gambling shops, blah blah. You're going to gravitate to these things. You're going to look at adults behaving in the wrong way, and go, "Oh, that's what I want to do." So, if the Doverhouse isn't there, I would be extremely fearful of what tomorrow would look like for those children. You don't know what happens at home. This might be their only release, even for the parents. You know, you think parents might not have the money to have a childminder. It's £3 to come and play football. That's 2 hours that the parent might get a bit back. I'm working 2 or 3 jobs. I just need a moment to kind of level up. It would be an absolute car crash. of unquantifiable amounts if Doverhouse Lions wasn't there.
I'll be honest, because Doverhouse Lion is a family to me.
Miserable, I guess, because I just feel miserable because you normally go there and you like seeing the place, but then you don't see it and you'd feel upset.
Just think all of these support structures become really important for young people at these times, and if they haven't necessarily got it at home, then having it from outside of home really, really matters. I always felt like there needed to be at least 3 people in a young person's life that they could rely on, whether it was their parents, a teacher, and then someone else outside. But if you don't have those core people around you that you can turn to, then I think it's really hard.
Football can get stuff off of your mind quickly for me, because sometimes I have a stressful day at school with homework and all of this. So if I go do football, it could take everything off my mind and I could just have a good time with my friends.
When I was born, everyone could see something was up, but then I went home. But then 5 weeks later, I was rushed back into hospital. And 5 weeks later, I rushed back into hospital. Something's wrong. I was going blue. I was like blue. They do tests on me, and they're like, "Wow, you've got heart problems." So I think I was in hospital from about 5 weeks old to about 6 months old, and I had multiple operations. Nearly died like twice. It's mad. It was like, if I didn't have that, I wouldn't be me, if that makes sense. If I didn't start off with the struggles, then I wouldn't be as driven as I am today. Why would I not do anything else with it? It doesn't make sense to just overcome that, then just sit in my room getting fat all day. Like, I know they'll always be there, but if I don't let it faze me, then the problems become smaller, if that makes sense. So if I'm here and I'm just going, I'm feeling sorry for myself, I'm disabled, I've got this problem, I've got that problem, then it doesn't help it. But if I go in, say I'm older and I play football, and I go in, I have to have another heart surgery, because I probably will. I'm going to have multiple when I'm older. I could have double what I've had now. I've had 28 already. Had 28 operations already, so I could have double that when I'm older. Everyone knows my problems. Everyone knows that I'm like disabled in that. But I want to drive to be known as someone that's done something, instead of just the kid who's disabled but gone to that thing. And I don't want to be on this earth, have problems, feel sorry for myself. I want to go out, do everything everyone else can do, with help, with or without help. I don't really mind. But as long as I get to that place, it don't matter for me.
We have such committed people who I absolutely adore, and I could get tearful now because they are amazing. We now have some coaches who were ex-players.
Looking back, I'm getting the children's of the children that I had.
Right.
It's been that long. It's great to see, because they know that how I treat them like my own children.
At first I found it quite difficult because when you're playing, you're kind of the centre of attention. You find it more enjoyable to go out there scoring goals. But I quickly learnt that actually it's much more satisfying watching somebody do what you've taught them. And I think even now, if I can spend 6 weeks with a child just trying to get them to do one skill or apply whatever concept I'm trying to get them to learn into a game, for me that's much more rewarding than playing myself now.
It's a great privilege, I think, to work with young people, and we've lagged behind for decades from some of our European counterparts who've got great facilities embedded in their communities, artificial surfaces and so on. But we must protect our playing fields. We must support the development of artificial surfaces that gives access opportunities. But the most important thing is ensuring that we have the right adults working with the young people.
It was almost like an escape. The flat was so small, so for me to get out of the house, and it's not just about going to play a sport. That's just one small factor of it. It's about going to be comfortable. You're going out, you're coming out of an area where you feel comfortable, where you feel safe, where you feel like you can be yourself.
Coaches always check if their players are alright, because that's their main priority, to make sure all players are alright, no matter who you are. I've seen people go through a lot of tough times and still have a smile on their face when they're playing football. I'd be a professional footballer and live in a council flat still. It does not bother me at all. As long as people around my community are playing football and trying to get somewhere in life, that's all that matters.
They're generous, they're really nice. I love them. I look up to them all the time because they are fantastic people, coaches as well, and they are brilliant at football.
Obviously Eddie's been so good to us before, like so good to me and my brother also, who used to play here. So I always wanted to give back in some way, shape or form, and now that I can see almost myself in them, like I can see like sort of the mistakes they were making, some like their behavioural patterns, etc.
My younger brothers, they played for Doverhouse Lions, and especially my youngest one. So his coach was John, and he was amazing. He was like a father figure, so he would come and pick Harvey up, take him to games. Even now, my younger brother looks at him as such an important person in his life, and I think John, that's just one coach from the club, has the ability to come across like that for all the boys. He's so amazing at his role that he takes it so seriously, that he invests so much time into these boys, and you don't get that at grassroots clubs. He's given his whole weekend away.
No boy is ever going to be the same to another. With every player that comes in through them gates, is we offer them the most and we try and teach them the most under that understanding that not everyone learns the same.
I hope it helps him to just keep building his character. I hope it continues to help him grow in confidence. I hope it continues to help him communicating with various different people. I hope it helps him to be a good team player. And let's continue to be confident, because, you know, team sport helps to build confidence in individuals that are maybe a bit more shy.
I'd like to see more girls' team. Once I finish football, I want to do coaching for Doverhouse, for the girls.
My aim here, which was my aim from the start, is to have the girls, my first group of girls, many of them to stay on at the club and start coaching. In 5 years' time we have coaches, in 10 years' time we have a full range of girls' teams, from the little ones up to the adults. With myself, it's kind of just trying to be positive to them, showing them what they can gain from football, and it's been very clear from the start, you know, I'm not trying to make professional footballers. If any of them do want to progress into professional football, I will help guide them towards that. But ultimately, I'm trying to give them skills that they can take on to college, university, and so forth. And if, for instance, my whole team decided when they turn 16 they don't want to play football anymore, that's fine, as long as they take forth the skills that they learn from that.
They teach us discipline, but not like a teacher at school would. They treat us more like family, and that we're close to them, not just because we see them, they know us and they teach us. They do it for love, and they do it because they think of us as family.
Then you say, actually, I've got a massive responsibility here to be consistent. I never swear in front of the children. Just there's some certain behaviours that I don't accept the children mocking one another. I said, because banter's only fun if you're the one delivering it, not receiving it. How do you know that's banter for him? For you, it's banter, it's funny for you. Is he laughing, or is he just trying to be a part of it, not to stand out more again? So actually, we won't mock each other, we just have fun playing football. And I always say to the kids, you can make a wrong pass, a wrong decision, that's life. But what I will not forgive you for is not giving 100%. And that's also life. If you don't give 100% in everything you apply yourself in, you'll never know how good you could have been in it. So that's what I'm saying to you guys. At school, 100%. At home, 100%. Your project, whatever it is, 100%. And then you'll say, actually, I'm good at it, or I've given it my all, don't worry about it. Going the extra mile, I think, is when you don't have to, is the definition of what good looks like for me. Fear of failure is crazy how that can keep you so introverted and not, it's okay to fail. Actually, it's not failure, it's learning. And if you use different play on words, all of a sudden, I've not failed, I've learned. Okay, well, I want to learn some more. I've failed, I don't want to fail anymore. Same thing, different play on words. They're not all going to make it. So being good humans, day-to-day basis, that's far more important than being brilliant with a football. Because even if you're great with a football, you're still going to have to interact with people. But the fact that, yeah, do you know what? I remember T, yeah, he cared about him or her. Actually, he made a difference to his or her life. I mean, that is, you can't even quantify the value on that. What does difference look like? Could have stopped him or her going to prison. Could have stopped him or her getting run over in an environment. Could have stopped him or her getting stabbed in the world that we live in today. So actually, him or her is now is a business pioneer and entrepreneur. So what does the difference look like? It's unquantifiable.
There was a boy a few years ago, every season, every single person got new boots, but he didn't. But he never complained, and he was the most amazing child you'll ever meet. So the club presented him with a pair of T90s back then when they were nice and popular. I remember as if it was yesterday. They were red and white, and he literally broke down in tears, and those boots never came to a training session dirty, ever. And he had them for 3 years. Thankfully his foot never grows. so it was kind of, it was fantastic. But to be honest, I don't think there is many words to describe them, but they are, there's loads of words to describe them, sorry, but I can't pick only a few. They're just incredible people.
Well, Alicia taught me a lot. I want to thank you to Alicia because she made me to be really good at football, really good at talking and making comfortable with the club as well.
Yeah, I think it's immensely important for kids to have role models that have not only come from a council estate, but you're right, that talk the same way that they talk.
I'd say the playing fields would be important because we have nowhere else to train. This is our home. We've built a relationship here.
I made lots of friends, and lots of friends are family, and Doverhouse is a family to me.
Everybody looks after it as though it's theirs. They all feel like they own a small piece of it, and that's what you need to have.
When I was growing up, let's say I had half a parent, instead of 2 parents. He basically doesn't have any, so he needs good role models in his life to show him what's right from wrong, and I'm willing to be one of them. This was a good stepping stone for me when I felt like in my life when I knew what was wrong from right and I was doing wrong. This used to kind of keep me doing right. It used to keep me positive, used to make me feel like I can actually get somewhere in life.
It doesn't matter what they do, so long as they're happy doing it, and it fulfills some kind of dream. We don't all have to dream big. Some of us just want to survive. I just want them to survive. I want them to survive. That's all I want them to do.
Having the playing fields genuinely owned and run by the community, I think helps you feel like it's in safe hands because we've got a collective sense of ownership but responsibility for it. But I also think there's so many other people who have come forward and said, well, yeah, this space matters to me too. And I think it's having all of those voices saying, well, I've got a different take on why it's important to me. I'm part of the local cricket team, but here's what we do with our children. And I think what's been really amazing, and the reason I'm still involved, is because they put in the effort.
Dover is pretty much a big family. You know everyone there. They all know you. It's not a massive club where you don't know everyone. So it's like a very close sense of family there. You can go there, see your friends who are a lot closer than just friends. They're your teammates. So even if you're not lucky enough to have at least one biological parent, you still have Dover to push you to be better.
I think they will be pivotal. It's their home ground, and it will always be their home ground.
When I first came to the club, Eddie, who's more involved on the football side, was kind of suggesting that kids here who might end up playing for England. Football is probably the most meritocratic industry in the world, and if you're playing football, or you even entertaining a career in football, your competition is not even the whole of London, it's the beaches of Brazil. And right around the world, because the reality is that people can choose and find and select and source people from all around the world. So the idea that this little club is potentially producing players who might play for England is so far-fetched and so unbelievable.
So when Ryan Sessegnon was called in to train with our first team, he was 15 years of age, and we got permission of his school to go and get him out of lessons to go and train with the first team. And of course, turned out it was a Friday, it wasn't a normal training day, he didn't have his boots with him. So I drove him down to the Roehampton estate, and we went to his apartment, and he opened, I think, the airing code at the top of the stairs, and this cascade of boots came down on you, and Ryan grabbed his boots and went to go and train with the first team for the first time. And really the the start of his professional career at 15 years of age sort of hinged a little bit on that moment. And what it struck me was that if you look at the Roehampton estate, there's no green space, and the closest playing fields is Doverhouse. And frankly, if an area of recreation such as that is lost, it's not just grass going, it's people's opportunities going. And if you are a local politician or a council official, you may not think you're that connected to professional sport, but you deny young people opportunity, you deny people their dreams and aspirations, and you deny them then the chance to follow in the footsteps of the Sessegnon twins. And the Sessegnon twins, I think, are absolutely emblematic for the Roehampton estate. And there's others, I'm sure, who've gone on to do fantastic things. But they are the passport to opportunity, success, and dare I say it, a bit of freedom. And you take that away, you take away hope.
I'm so proud of Ryan,
of course,
and Stephen. Very, very proud of them. Very proud of them.
Doverhouse Lions for me is just the heartbeat of the community. That's all it is. It's just the heartbeat of the community.
So it's like it's my home because everything's football related, and more or less at my home everything's football related. So it's like, well, this is my second house.
So the experiment is the council providing a lease, a licence effectively, to the trust to run the playing fields for a period of time. The idea that with a charitable trust that you open yourself up hopefully to new sources of funding. We have resources obviously in the community, and hopefully people will contribute in various ways because they realise that there is huge benefit for the community as a whole, and it's in their interest. But it's an experiment because typically you either get a council running a site like that and it's publicly funded, or it's run privately. And what we're trying to do is balance those interests with an organisation, it's a charitable organisation that will run the playing fields sustainably for the benefit of all users.
And I think in a way when the council first did this procurement, I think they ultimately recognised that they'd gone off in just the wrong direction. I think it was well intentioned in that they wanted to find a way to help the playing fields be more self-sustaining financially. But actually the route they picked was the wrong one. And, credit to them actually for being prepared to take another look at it. And I think we wouldn't have got where we've got to without Steffi.
Either way, those are playing fields. They're never going to become houses or anything else. They are playing fields.
The people who live around it just need to be aware that not everyone there is as privileged as them, and they need to respect the fact that we go there to play football and we're not causing any trouble, we're just going there to play football, and that's the only place that we can go. So we need to be respectful, not being too loud or annoying them or being disrespectful, but they also need to respect the people who are playing. I think it gives their area a lot more diversity, and they should be proud that there's a football pitch there. They shouldn't be ashamed of it or wanting to get rid of it. They should be supporting it because that's part of their community as well.
I can't deny these children the right to play sport till 7:30 at night. I just can't do it. It's got to happen. And if they and some of them do, unfortunately, like having a big empty space in the middle of West Putney, it's not right. It is not serving a societal need if it isn't promoting the whole reason it's there.
We all love to live with hope. And in that sense, I do believe those playing fields are fields of dreams, and there's nothing wrong with dreaming. It also provides a home, and the reality is it is a grassy home for kids who might not even have grass at home.
Just give them control, because we've got people that care, and the bandwidth and the time. The council need to let go of control and it will flourish.
If I had to give a message to someone in regards of the fields, and it was a make or break decision on what was going to happen to it, I would just ask them to see through a child's eyes. For them, when they walk through that gate, it's just grass with a couple of goals. But for some of our children, it's their home. And as soon as they step forward in that gate, it's a different world for them. Yeah.
Links Lane, Morden.
Wandsworth Park, Putney.
Doverhouse playing fields.
Train track football field in Mauritius.
Roundshaw playing fields, Roundshaw Estate. Yeah, where dreams were made.
Rockingham Road, Kettering.
All the way from Doverhouse Lions to Leighton Oriole.
Dundonald Park, Wimbledon.
Field hockey at the Royal Birkdale Cricket Club.
Ivy Road Recreation Ground.
Have a little look around now. First game tonight, so really excited, and just a message from me to everyone, just to keep going, enjoy your non-league and grassroots football, and keep working hard, and keep positive, stay safe.
I'm very proud of the boys. They did really well, really well. They did really well. I'm very happy.
That's awesome.